yo, kid. What's up? Remember when I used to be dope? Yeah. I hold a pocket full of fame. But look what you're doing now.
Fun fact, the Judgment Night soundtrack was a huge hit soundtrack in the 90s, and the directors come out and said that, hey, he thinks the soundtrack is more popular than the movie.
We just got a copyright strike before
Why?
we get
No,
10 fucking subscribers.
You're putting that bad juju in the air. It's fair use, man. It was 10 seconds. It was a tribute to that great song from the Judgment Night soundtrack, which, hey, I'm bumping that song in my car every day for the next week in honor of Judgment Night. So, folks, we're back, and welcome the movie fellas. You know the name, of course. We have Nitpick Nick Arcana here and Punyan Vic, which I don't like saying, but whatever.
It's your new nickname.
Vic Azim, also known as the Punyan.
The Punyan.
The Punyan Sure. Can I at least be like the Punisher, but the Punyan Sure?
Punyan, sure.
Punyan Sure. I punish those who don't properly use puns, thus punishing myself.
And punishing me, because I gotta hear this bullshit.
Hey, well, you're contractually obligated to sit there and take on the puns as they come. So
I got a joke for you. My wife is mad I don't get her any flowers.
Right.
But I didn't know she sold flowers.
What?
My wife is mad that I don't buy her flowers.
Yes.
I didn't know she sold flowers.
Oh. That's not really a pun, but it still works, though. It's all right. I mean...
And I'm a cat dad, so I can say I even got the dad bod.
You're a feline father. All right, well, so anyways, moving on. So, folks, today we're doing Judgment Night from 1993. According to my research, the director, Stephen Hopkins, also made Nightmare on Elm Street Part 5. Was his first movie. Now, I'm thinking back to our review of the Nightmare series, and I don't think that was one of our favorites in this series.
I think that was probably the least favorite me.
I think so.
When it comes to the original Nightmare movies, that would probably be my least favorite.
I agree. But he did go on after Nightmare to make Predator 2 and then this movie. And Predator 2 is kind of well, we're going to do a podcast on that eventually, but I feel like it's pretty underrated.
Yeah. I mean, what other movie do you get Danny Glover having a sword fight with an alien?
Lethal Weapon 3.
I said a sword fight.
Lethal Weapon 4.
Well, at least he fights, but...
One of the Lethal Weapons. Emilio Estevez, the first time I saw him was in the Mighty Duck movies.
Yep.
And I did Mighty Ducks and D2 and D3 and...
I'm kind of surprised he's not in the new Mighty Ducks show that's out now.
He was in the first season.
He was?
Yeah.
No. But since we're talking about Mighty Ducks, I got to mention there's an actor from Letterkenny who plays in the Mighty Ducks.
Really?
Yeah, there's a guy with the long hair. He's a coach of one of the antagonist groups. Long hair, looks kind of doofy, blonde. In Letterkenny, he's known as Jonesy.
Huh. Interesting. Well, I'd like to think that one day we'll review the Mighty Ducks series, but I just don't see it. It's not necessarily a series I want to revisit.
Maybe we'll stick with just D2 because it's the only one I remember. I don't remember part 1.
Well, D3 had them against like the Olympic people, the prep school teenagers.
I know I didn't.
They were all much older, and Keenan was like right about to do Keenan and Kel, so it was like a weird.
Yeah, I only remember part 2.
All right, well.
And I barely remember that. I think I remember Heavyweights more than part 2.
Well, maybe I'm crazy, but maybe this is a thing because I do remember D2 more than the first one. The first one's like a blank in my head, but I remember D2 because that's when Keenan first came into it.
Yeah, and
he had the knuckle puck.
Yeah,
and my knuckle puck.
Well, another good movie for us to do eventually, Heavyweights with Ben Stiller.
Yes,
especially since I'm fat.
Did you ever see Camp Nowhere?
No.
It's in the same mold, kind of the same couple years period, but it was these kids, they make up an imaginary summer camp to go to for the summer. All the kids go there, and they have one cool adult counselor who's helping them fool their parents, and anything goes. But it's very similar to Heavyweights.
And then eventually turns out to be a slasher movie because then all the kids start dying.
Well, they didn't know that they created a fake camp at Crystal Lake, and then they all died because Jason came and killed them. So
yeah, because Jason stopped giving a shit about not killing kids.
What about The Breakfast Club? You ever seen The Breakfast Club?
That one I've seen.
That's a very young Emilio
A long
Estevez.
time ago.
It's a young Emilio Estevez and Young Guns with Emilio Estevez. That's a good one. That's the one we got to do eventually. Emilio Estevez is pretty... I always like him in the movies he's in. He's very likable, and but this was definitely at the tail end of his acting career. After this movie, he pretty much went behind the scenes, became a director, producer. So this was like his last hurrah as like a main actor, I would say. But they originally wanted both Tom Cruise and John Travolta, but everybody was passing on the movie So at the last second, production was about to start a week from now, or a week later. They were like desperate to find an actor. So they came to Emilio, and Emilio negotiated a $4 million payday, which is about twice of his normal payday because they were on such a time crunch to find the actor. So good for Emilio, he got paid way more than what he normally gets paid for this movie.
Which is funny, well, I guess Cuba Gooding Jr. wasn't as high paid as Emilio at this point, was he?
No, this is Cuba after Boys in the Hood, but not really any starring vehicles since Boys in the Hood, I feel like. He was in A Few Good Men for a couple scenes.
I'm trying to remember some other...
He hadn't done Jerry Maguire yet.
I know there's a few movies he was in that I like, but I can't remember them to save my life.
There's a boxing movie with him called Gladiators that's really good, but nobody's seen it.
Wasn't he also in Norbit?
That was a long time later on. So.
Still.
I mean, he's had been in a lot of movies. I mean, of course, we know about Snow Dogs, and that was probably
that's the one I'm trying to think of.
that's the beginning of his downfall, actually, I think.
Hey, I like Snow Dogs, probably because of the dogs.
Actually,
it is the dogs.
Yeah, you're the only one that likes that one. So.
The dogs. I love the dogs. The dogs are nice.
You know, they say all snow dogs go to heaven. So.
Hey, eventually we'll get that movie.
Yeah, damn it! I'm not trying to give you any no ideas. I'm trying to give you here.
Too late.
No, look. So the cast is all pretty much. They're catching the actors at the very beginning stages. Emilio's maybe at the end.
Like Stephen Dorff.
Stephen Dorff. This is 5 years away from him becoming fucking Deacon Frost in Blade.
Right.
And from this performance, you would never project, oh, he's going to be a villain in a movie 5 years later against fucking Wesley Snipes.
Even though one of his first movies, Stephen Dorff's first movies, was The Gate, when he was actually probably 13, if not younger.
See, I don't remember that.
That one, all I remember about it is he was a kid, he accidentally opened up a gate of hell, and a bunch of demons tries to kill him, his friend, his sister, and eventually ends with some giant-ass demon coming out of a hole of his house.
Wow. And we have actually the villain here, Dennis Leary, who back in the early 90s actually was a successful stand-up comedian, had his own show on MTV.
He also later on plays Diego from the Ice Age movies. He's the Sabretooth.
And there's a good TV show called Rescue Me about firemen.
Yep.
He's solid in that too. So this cast is pretty amazing. And then you have actually even Jeremy Piven, who plays Ray. I don't know if you've ever seen the show Entourage.
Nope.
He's a beast on the show Entourage. Great actor. And one of the bad guy roles, one of Dennis Leary's henchmen, his name is Eric something, but he's like a bad guy in a bunch of 90s movies. He's a bad guy in The Mask, in Blue Streak.
Oh, yeah. You're talking about Sykes.
Yeah, Sykes is one of those faces like you just immediately recognize him when you see him.
Yeah, because I remember when I first saw him, I was like, what the fuck? Where have I seen that motherfucker before? He just has one of those faces.
He always shows up as either like the second bad guy or the main bad guy, depending on, I guess.
Blue Streak, I think he was the main bad guy.
The Mask, he's the main bad guy. He's in a bunch of movies in the 90s. And then finally, the other henchman is actually the dude from the rap group Cypress Hill.
Which one? The Spanish-looking dude or the long-haired dude?
No, the bald-headed dude.
Oh, the bald-headed dude.
The one that lives to the very end. He's actually from the Cypress Hill, who was like a big rap group back in the day. So the movie, but they put a lot of budget and marketing behind the movie. It didn't work at the box office at all.
I don't see. I'm starting to think nobody just went and saw this movie because anyone who saw this movie, I'm assuming, most likely liked it.
There's a YouTube video because I was looking up on YouTube, and there's a YouTube video called, I guess the channel is called like movies that you should have seen. It's like highlighting underrated movies that nobody heard of, and they have like a 15-minute video about Judgment. I would recommend check it out because that's a lot of behind the scenes details. And the director had done like a 25-year screening for it back in 2018, and he said he was happy with it, and he said that pretty much the soundtrack ended up being like a bigger deal than the movie itself. He said himself. But he was happy with it. But I mean, and he wanted Kevin Spacey to be the main villain at first, but they couldn't get him. So
Kevin Spacey would have done pretty good with it. I'm just wondering if they still would have had a fight scene because I've never seen Kevin Spacey in an actual fight in any of the movies he's done. I don't know. I've never seen. I don't think I've seen his older stuff.
Yeah, but I don't think Dennis Leary fights anybody per se here.
He fights at the very end. He beats the living hell out of Frank before he starts taunting Frank.
But it wasn't like
much.
It wasn't like real fighting though. It was like kind of that stage sort of villain fighting, but it wasn't like an actual like
He beat
It wasn't
them bloody.
some greatly choreographed fight scene, is all I'm saying.
Oh no, it wasn't no martial arts. None of them no
Yeah.
martial arts.
It was probably like one day of like, all right, you do
was
this,
still,
punch him. So
but it's still classified as a fight scene,
I think Kevin Spacey might be shorter than Emilio Estevez. So
most likely.
I don't think he'd have like Dennis Leary at least has a somewhat physical, intimidating presence. I don't think Spacey would have been. Spacey's a good talker, but I don't think he can necessarily fill the role of like intimidating physically.
Right.
Which you have to be. You have to believe that he's telling those other people what to do, the people that are following him, and I don't think Spacey would do that. So, but anyways, let's go through it. So basically, we kind of went through the cast here, and they're introduced as a friendship group. We have Emilio playing Frank, who recently
Just had a baby 3 months ago.
yes, and as he's getting ready to go out for go to a fight with his friends, supposedly this is the first time he's left the house in 3 months, which
He's complaining about, even though if you just had a baby, I'm pretty sure that baby probably comes first.
well, I think it's a built-in expectation that at least for a few months you're probably going to be in the house.
Oh hell yeah!
So I thought it was bad writing to say, oh, he's been suffocated for 3 months in the house. Oh my God, 3 months. I got to get out the house.
And you're telling me he doesn't leave the house for work? I mean, we don't know what he does.
We don't know what
for
the hell
us.
he does.
But he also mentioned in the throwaway line, Linda's been giving me shit since I got home. It's like, is this got home from work, or were you gone for a while and then had the baby?
Yeah, and she says that, oh, she hasn't been out the house for 3 months either.
Yep.
So it's kind of like, okay, a quick fix here is just someone should have said, hey, why don't we make this more impactful and just be like, hey, like say 10 months.
Or a year.
A year, then you can be like, oh, he's desperate to get out to see his friends. He's been only in the house for a year. And then you can have the tension there. But 3 months is like, sometimes without the baby, you go 3 months without seeing your friends. It's like
Right.
normal. So there's some misguided tension there, basically. We see Cuba's playing Mike, who is his friend who apparently his wife doesn't like because he apparently...
Because he danced weird at his
danced
birthday.
weird. It's funny.
Which also, I think they said that the Frank and the wife actually were only married for about 2 years now at
Yes.
this point.
Yep.
So they haven't been married long.
No, he says I've been married to that woman for 2 years.
And she don't like you. Or no. Mike says she doesn't like him. And then Frank goes, oh, yes, she does. Oh, yeah, remember your birthday party?
But she indicates she doesn't like him. She tells Frank, she's like,
You need better friends.
she tells him to upgrade his friends. He's like, holy shit. He's like, your friends are mature, blah, blah.
So I don't know about you, but for me, that is a deal breaker. It's like, I am fine with whoever friends you have. I will be fine with them. Even if I don't like them, I'm not going to sit there and tell you, you need better friends. Hell no. So I don't expect.
Yeah.
I expect the same thing back. You don't like them, fine. Just don't sit there and tell me I need better friends, unless you know for a fact they're doing something wrong.
I feel like these are all long-term friends that Frank has.
Oh,
They've probably been friends for a long time.
Well, they have to
And
be, at least, especially Frank and Mike.
Right. They go back a long time. So the fact that Mike is like, your wife doesn't like me, that means the wife probably just came on the scene within the last few years. So Frank kind of sold out and probably... I mean, to be fair, he's not actually getting new friends. But you're right. He should check his wife and be like, hey, you have your friend Peggy, whoever it is. These are my friends. Doesn't mean I'm gonna hang out with them all the time, but doesn't mean I'm gonna get better friends.
Right, and now it does seem like she's a little bit more cordial with Ray. She seems to actually tease Ray back just as Ray is teasing her.
Yeah, but that's just because Ray's like has a high social intelligence, so he's like, all right. He probably sensed what was going on. I was like, let me try to make her laugh to like be likable.
Right.
Whereas Mike is just like,
Yeah, she don't like me.
yeah,
so
we'll be back at 8 a.m. And she's already like, this is exactly what I'm talking about, this motherfucker.
Yeah,
Mike.
but still, again,
Mike makes a bad impression because he comes to the neighborhood and he's like hitting on the neighbor.
okay,
So
he's
she's watching.
single. Of course he's going.
So that's a good little thing because she's watching from the neighbors. So that already informs her to be like, well, Mike's picking up his date for the night. So it's all feeding into how she already sees them. So
yeah, but
and then Ray shows up in the fucking camper. So
that was completely out of nowhere, out of left field for me when I first, because I'm pretty sure this is the very first time I've seen this movie. I know you said we've watched it before, but I don't remember anything about this movie.
So my question is, if Ray didn't bring the camper, then what the hell was the transportation plan? Because clearly they're shocked by like, what the fuck is this camper? So it's like, was Ray coming to pick them up in like a van or something?
I
Like,
guess. I mean, we don't know exactly what.
I know from Mike's car, they're not taking Mike's car. He had a small.
Yeah, most likely only a 2-person seater. And there's 4 people going because eventually you meet John, who's played by Steven Dorff.
Yeah, so basically Ray tells us, of course, he conned the dealer into taking the camper.
So Ray's the con man out of the group.
Definitely a con man. And then there's some other guy, I guess, that was supposed to come but didn't come.
Yeah, Eric, I think they called him.
So wait till Eric hears the story about what happened to his friends that night, because he's gonna be like, oh,
Yeah, he'll never meet Ray again.
yeah. We'll talk about that later because I'm thinking about the aftermath. But they find out that Frank has invited his little brother, and Steven Dorff pulls up,
Almost rams into the camper.
and it's so weird. The movie sets this dude up like
A hothead.
how he's dressed and how he's driving. It looks like he's gonna be like the hothead badass or something, right? And there's some weird tension between him and Frank.
That we never actually get anything about.
Yeah, that's a big problem because there's some weird tension there in the first few scenes that then never really comes back in the movie. It's almost like they forgot to pay that off. So, but I gotta say, already, even Ray the Con Man, they have such a fun friend guy rapport that I'm already digging them because they're talking, they're busting each other's balls in a way that guy friends do when they hang out. It feels like they're actually really friends.
Right. And we get a few snippets of, at least with Mike and Frank, we get a few snippets that Mike and Frank used to be the neighborhood badasses.
Yeah, because some dude won't let them cut in front of them in traffic.
Right.
And again, they're still feeding into this idea that Steven Dorff is some kind of badass because he's the one instigating and be like, hey, asshole, let us in. He's like, fuck you, asshole. Oh, you want a piece of me?
And then finally...
So this whole Steven Dorff is a badass thing gets dropped after this like first 5 minutes. The rest of the movie's not going to show up, but he's the one like getting a fight with the dude. And the dude probably would kick his ass, what it looks like, but then Cuba steps in.
Yeah, and he obviously knows the chicken wing.
He did that shit quick and on point. And the guy's like, all right, get off me.
Yeah, and then this is one of the snippets we hear that Frank used to be a fighter because even Mike's like, yeah, you should have seen him back in the day. He'd be able to kick my ass.
Yeah, he was like, your brother would have dropped that dude back in the day. And
Ray's the only one who's like, can we stop showboating here? So Ray was never a fighter. Even if he was with the crew the whole time, he most likely was always the one that would get him out of the trouble.
Well, look, Ray don't got to fight. He got that gun.
He's also got he's also got his mouth.
Oh yeah, Ray can almost talk himself almost out of anything, as we'll get to later. But yeah, and then there's a line about, hey, you're not his father. So there's again some weird tension between.
Which makes me wonder: is it possible that maybe their father died, so Frank had to kind of take over a father role for him?
I don't like when you say that to your big brother, like, you're not my father. It's like,
he's not trying to be.
Yeah, but in a weird way, your big brother is sort of a surrogate father.
Right.
Like, it's kind of a thing to your father. Like, you do take your big brother's advice and stuff like that. So it's like, you're not his father. It's like, say that to your friend. Don't say that to your actual big brother, though.
Yeah, like I said, it makes me think that maybe their father died and Frank had to take care of John when they were younger.
But something happened lately, and maybe, I'll just come out and say, maybe this girl came into their life and just made all these friendships like
kind of go downhill. So
maybe
Frank's
she's the common denominator.
Yeah.
Since she came along, Frank has been.
I mean, I know for me personally, I would have dropped her, but can you really blame Frank when she's that beautiful?
Maybe she got pregnant and dropped him.
Yeah, she is a beautiful woman.
She's beautiful, but yeah, I mean,
remember, don't stick your dick in crazy.
No, don't. But you got to find the balance because what Frank is doing, going this way with his friends, it doesn't have to be once a month. It can be even like once a year, once every 6 months. But you have to have that component,
right,
to keep your sanity. You can spend all your day to day with the girl, but you got to go out with the fellas, your old friends, and talk about all the stuff you used to talk about. Maybe even like once a year, but it has to be acceptable for the girl to know that, hey, my husband will need this sometimes. Doesn't mean like every day he's hanging out with him anymore. That's gone, but sometimes.
I mean, and to be honest, it may not, because right now, like I said, the only real social interaction I have besides my wife is you every other week.
Are you saying that your frequent back and forth emails with Jeremy from Idaho is not social interaction? Because Jeremy's going to be offended, man. He feels like he has a pen pal friend there, and I know you're only talking to him so you can, get that secret email from his mom, and that ain't right. But that is social interaction, my friend. So.
I mean, my wife's fine with it, but that's probably because she knows it ain't gonna happen.
Yeah.
No redhead's gonna give me the time of day.
This is true. I'd love to be encouraging.
But then I have a brother up in D.C. I'd only see him maybe once a month. I got a brother in Roanoke. I only see him like every 6 months.
So if you had the question is if you had a group of friends who, let's say, a couple times a year, it was like a tradition that you go somewhere, some kind of trip or do something. The girl's got to be like, okay, well, listen, this is something you do once a year. Keep doing it. It can't be like, all right, well, that's got to go now that you're part of my life. I just don't like that controlling factor.
No, that's like I said. If my wife did that to me, we wouldn't be married anymore.
Yeah. Now, unfortunately, in this movie, the girl's gonna be proven right because the one time Emil goes out, all shit's about to go to hell because Ray decides, hey, I don't want to miss this fight. I'm taking a scenic route.
I mean, to be fair, there is a fight in this movie.
That's true, but Ray's not gonna see it. So.
Nope.
He wants that boxing fight, so he turns off onto a little side road, and we end up with them in some kind of city that, best I can tell, is like the city from the movie The Crow, or like there's a huge, beautiful horror atmosphere when they're driving down this abandoned road. It's shot very well. You got the damn papers flying around. It looks abandoned. And you're like...
And they have a gun.
They have a gun. Luckily, Ray brought a gun, and we get this great scene of them stopping to ask the homeless people for directions. Hey, where's the welcome wagon? And you get the homeless person, like, show what you got. Pulls out the
wine.
The wine. He's like, ha! He's like, ah! Just slap my ass.
Then you think the homeless people are just having fun with them, and then when they drive off, the homeless people get mad and start chucking stuff at them. It's like, I thought y'all were just having fun with them.
Yeah, that was the welcome wagon. Why you get mad? Now, unfortunately, they decide to look for a map and do that.
They hit Teddy.
They got to distract Ray, who's driving and who's also, let's say, half drunk. And they hit Teddy, who actually is
shot.
And that's actually, I don't know if you ever seen the TV show New York Undercover?
No.
It's an old cop show, but one of the main cops was Torres, and that's his dude they just hit. He's a good actor too.
Well, then why didn't he have a gun on him?
Well, I mean, I don't know. Maybe he was off.
Why did he let himself get shot?
He was suspended off duty, something. Okay, so my thing is, all right, we hit the guy.
Yep.
Okay, maybe it's reasonable to be like, hey, because Ray's like, hey.
I'm drunk as shit.
Ray's like, let's just keep going. But they're like, stop it, Ray. They go check him out. Maybe it's reasonable to say, hey, let's bring him onto the camper.
Which they do.
But they find out pretty quickly that he's been shot.
Yes.
And Ray makes the astute observation, hey, somebody shot him, we could all be in danger. And now this is like, to me, this is common sense. They should all be like, hey, somebody's after him.
Someone get behind the wheel of this camper and go.
So the rest of them go into like, I'm not saying you have to be as unethical as Ray, but the rest of them are just like in straight do-gooder mode. And they're like, it doesn't matter, Ray. We have to get him to the hospital, and we'll deal with that later. Yeah, you're going to deal with that later. So they take off. Again, they're ignoring the idea of like, hey, he's been shot. Well, you find the cops. You try to run them down, and they're like, fuck you. These are cops from horror movies. Well, the movie's not horror movie, but they brought in the cops from horror movies because they're useless.
Their lights are going off, which means they're going for something. A donut break.
Yeah, but they got the intercom, and they're like, hey, loud. The cops heard them. They just took off speeding, all right?
Yeah, well.
But who is there for them is the bad guys.
So I feel like maybe they shouldn't have made so much noise.
You lured the bad guys. And actually, that's actually good writing because the idea was, hey, we're trying to get the cops, but we actually told the bad guys where
we're at because we are all sort of screaming, we have someone hurt in here. So now the bad guy's like, he's in there. Whereas if they didn't do anything, just drove him to the hospital, they may have gotten away because then why would the bad guys have stopped them?
Now, let me ask this. The bad guys in their car.
Yes. Their Cadillac.
Their strategy is we're going to run to this big-ass camper.
Yes.
And we're the aggressors, and we're going to just hit the camper, and we're taking over.
Yes.
Fucking camper.
Yes.
this could have went really bad for the bad guys.
I mean,
what if the car just bounced off the camper and the camper said "fuck you" and kept driving?
I mean, in hindsight, it still is bad for the bad guys.
Well, yeah, it's true, but because it's a movie, it hits the camper and the camper flies into a damn alleyway and they're trapped in the damn little alley thing.
And that's when we get a jump scare.
Very well done. You know, this is the motherfucker that made Nightmare 5, so he brought some of his horror movies into it.
I just want to say this is kind of annoying to me for one reason. So Emilio Estevez, Frank, sticks his head out the thing, looks around, no one's there. The minute he steps foot on the camper deck, all of a sudden a crowbar just flies through like, where the fuck did you come from, dude?
Knowing these bad guys, it didn't make sense because you're right. He looks around and they're playing it like this is fucking the creeper.
Right.
You would think like this is some straight super horror movie shit. And yeah, it's just regular human henchmen.
Yeah, so how did they get there so fast without being seen? I understand not being heard if say Emilio didn't stick his head out the window, but he did.
Well, they open the door, they crush the window, and they take out the dude.
They literally just grab him, pull him out. I'm like, yeah.
They didn't know who they were messing with, though. It's like, what if at that exact moment, like, Ray or Cuba had the gun in their hand? They could have shot him. That was pretty bold on the bad guy's part. Mm-hmm. So we get the whole...
Well, these bad guys are pretty bold in general, except for the long-haired dude.
Well, we find out that the guy who got shot had stolen some money from Fallon, who pulls up in a car and is, of course, the wisecracking Dennis Leary, who makes a good point. Like, what do you want me to do, man? You want me to let you go? How am I supposed to conduct business on the streets if I let you go? And of course he's like, no, you don't have to tell nobody.
Bang.
Whoosh. And this is the shot heard around the world because everybody in the camper's watching, and you get the close up of all of their reactions. Right.
Especially John, because John the whole time was like, we can't just sit here and let him kill him. It's like, yeah, what are you going to do?
Well, this whole scene is the complete end of any idea that John is a badass.
I mean, John the whole time was showing he's actually compassionate for another human, because when they first hit the guy, John's like, okay, we got to go out there and find out who we just hit. It wasn't even Frank, it was John.
Yeah, and John, while he's being talked to by Fallon, he's in the camper being like, we're not going to do anything, Frank. Not a fucking thing.
Right, like he wants to get out there and help, and Frank should have just been like, what the fuck you want us to do when they got guns?
He said it. He was like, what do you want us to do? Like, they have guns. We have
nothing right now.
We
can't even find
It's not going to be a fist fight. They're going to shoot you, John. So anyways, him getting shot, it triggers Cuba's fight or flight because he immediately busts to the window. It's like, let's go. And Amelia has Frank has the right idea to
burn the camper. Blow up the camper because then it could hide where they're running to.
And you get a nice comedic moment though. He's like, sorry, Ray. Ray's like,
whatever.
So he's like, no, that's funny. Frank says, I didn't mean that. And Frank's like, Ray's like, thanks, I'll tell the dealer that.
Well, he doesn't have to tell the dealer after tonight.
Yeah, so now we get the cat and mouse chase.
Where the first scene we get to is the train yard.
The train yard? Are these the same homeless people you think we saw before?
Probably.
Or is just the whole city's just littered with
this whole city seems to be littered with, because it looks like they're in the projects in this area.
Yeah, so they're in the boxcars.
But at least these people have somewhere to go to get out of the elements, even though I'm sure it's still cold in there.
Yeah.
But if they cuddle up together, they'll be warm. They'll survive.
Yeah, they're not too nice because these people are just trying to hide there for a few minutes until Fallon walks away.
And they almost get away with that.
Yeah, but the problem is the homeless people, knowing that they take advantage of the situation and they're trying to get a watch, some money, everybody's wallets, Cuba's jacket. Because, as he says, I'm a college graduate. I'm a goddamn college graduate.
Yeah, college graduate dude is the one that ruins it for everybody. Also, I just want to ask something. So you're giving your wallet to a homeless man.
Yep.
Homeless man is not going to give a shit about your ID.
Nope.
So if I'm giving my wallet to a homeless man, the first thing I'm taking out is my ID. It's like, look, you don't need this. This is for me.
Yep.
You can have the money. You can have the money. You can have the cards.
Yeah.
I'm taking my damn ID. And No, and the only reason I say that me bringing this up is a waste of damn time is because it goes nowhere.
Yeah. Well, once they gave the wallet, it made sense what they did with it. They had Fallon shoot the homeless guy because he's wearing Cuba's jacket.
Right.
And then he picks the ID, and now him just seeing Frank's ID seems to trigger him in a real he's now has some personal vendetta to catch this guy and kill him.
Yeah.
Because at a certain point, maybe they give up their search. But once he found the wallet, I felt like it was Frank Fallon's not quitting tonight until he kills this guy.
Yeah, which for me it just seems weird though, because now he has a way to get at least Frank out of hiding. All he has to do is say, "You come out now, or I'm coming, or I'm going to your home at 1922 Deadwood Drive."
He does sort of do that
At the end?
No, not as directly, but even when they're in the apartment building, he's going up the stairs and he's calling out. He's like, "Frank, blah, blah, 555 Deadwood." And Frank actually up in the apartment is like, "How does he have my address?
Yeah,
How does he know my name?"
Yeah, but Fallon never 100% said, "I'm
but
going to your wife."
I think he's implying that, "Hey, I know where you live," without saying, "I'm gonna go rape your wife and kill her." So that might be too much for the movie. So
Probably, but
he's
I
implying.
still would have maybe had that part and be like, "If you're not out in 5 minutes, I'm not going to open these doors. If you're not out in 5 minutes, you'll survive the night. Your family won't."
The problem with that is, if let's say that, okay, let's think about realistically. If that's Fallon's plan, right? He's like, "All right, I'm gonna leave you alone. I'm going to your wife's house." Frank's like, "Well, cool. Well, hey, 911. Go to my house.
Well,
the bad guy's on his way."
They already cut the phone lines, remember?
Yeah, but if he's actually going to his house at a certain point and they're free to be let go, there is police in the town. They're going to get to the police station and be good. That's
What
not-
police? How many times did they call police in this whole damn movie?
They can run out of town and find someone. What I'm saying is,
By the time they get there, his wife is dead,
I don't think
and
so.
the villains are gone.
Even though, okay, there's different levels of villains, right? Different levels of evil, right? And Fallon, believe it or not, strikes me as he's not this top tier villain. I think he's mean. He's a businessman, but I don't actually see him going and killing his wife.
And actually, you just made a good point. He's a businessman.
'Cause
How
think-
many cops does he have in his pocket?
I don't think any.
He could.
I don't think so.
It's always
maybe,
possible.
No, maybe local in that town, but not stretching to Frank's neighborhood. Because think about Fallon. We get this scene where he comes upon the other gang who runs that apartment complex, right? And I mean, he gives the dude money, and he actually takes him aside and explains to him what's going on. It's like, "Hey, look, I know if I do this, it makes you look shit." And yada yada, and I think that's a good image of he's actually just a smart, reasonable person. These are witnesses. He wants to kill the witnesses, but I don't think he's a serial killer or anything. He's not killing people randomly. He kills people with a purpose, but I don't think he's gonna go to suburbia and start shooting neighbors like that.
That would have made a good horror movie.
Absolutely. Well, yeah, it's called Halloween Kills. It's just without Dennis Leary's Michael Myers.
Ah, okay.
And I just like the scene where he's negotiating with the other gang member, because you don't get that in movies where the villains need something. It's there's another villain per se, which is just a teenage kid. But
I love how he's giving him money. He goes, "There's blood on that money." He's like, "Dude, do you really care at this point? It's still money. Any store's going to take it, and you can wash the blood off."
no, well, okay, you're missing this great line. He said, "This money got blood on it." He says, "You ever seen any that didn't?" A lot of good lines there. So, anyways, of course, then he gives away them. They're in the apartment building. They go into some apartments. They're
looking for him.
One of the
because
residents there lets them actually hide there for a second until Ray loses his mind and pulls his gun out.
Yeah. I mean, they were already leaving due to the fact that the woman's like, "Okay, they're breaking into the apartments. Y'all got to go, because I still got a daughter in here.
And they're willing to leave. It's just Ray's "I'm not going anywhere."
The cops will be here any second." He's like, "Dude, for one, y'all didn't even call the cops. You even said when the cops going to be here, because I'm guessing one of the girls did.
Yeah.
So you don't even know if they actually call the cops, because when you tried, the phone lines are dead because they got cut."
Yeah, this scene is the beginning of Ray's undoing. This is where he's starting to not go with the group anymore. He's losing his mind pretty much and looking at just self-preservation and just giving up basically.
Well,
they take a lot to convince him to get the gun over, and you think for me that's it, but then
we get to the rooftop scene.
The roof scene where, yes, it is very dangerous to crawl across the thing to the other side of the roof.
That's very wiggly.
Very wiggly.
And
but,
ends up breaking when Frank was on it, so Ray really couldn't get on it anymore.
I don't know, though. I feel like maybe if you stay, though, you're pretty much screwed.
Well, yeah, but if that ladder does break under you, you're screwed either way, and you're dying the same way.
Wouldn't you rather go by your own accord, though, versus somebody throwing you off
He
the
did
roof?
go by his own accord. He knew he was either going to die or he was going to talk them out of killing him.
He had a strong chance of winning. It just depended on he didn't know who he was negotiating with.
Right.
You're negotiating.
If he was negotiating with Sykes, he would have gotten away. He would have gotten
Yes.
it. Because Sykes was like,
When he gave him the watch, he was like, "Well, all right." And Sykes was like, "You just mentioned money."
right.
90% of bad guys, and I think that's why I'm like, in his weird way, what's his face? Fallon's a principled person because someone's offering him $200,000, and he's like, "I hate fucking people like you." It's like you've been handing everything, blah blah blah. But this might be the best scene, just because I think the first time you watch as the audience, you're kind of like, "Hey, maybe he actually negotiated his way out of it."
And then he gets pushed off the roof.
And they got the little twist there. And big props to Jeremy Piven's scream, because his scream was like chilling. He's like, "Ah!" It felt like believably like he's falling off a roof.
And then Mike goes out, starts shooting.
The irony, though, is that I like how they also showed from their perspective, Mike's trying to shoot the whole time, and Frank's like, "No,
You do, they kill Ray.
they'll kill him for sure." And Mike makes the point of like, "And if I don't?" So that
There's a
makes
50-50
sense.
shot if you don't.
Yeah, as soon as Ray's all his roof, Mike's shooting. He shoots one of the bad guys.
Yeah, he does, just not to death. Me personally, I probably would have just let him shoot, but I would have told him aim for Fallon. Because, whereas Sykes most likely would have taken over.
Mike just started shooting wildly. He wasn't even.
But
he wasn't aiming.
I'm talking about before they even killed Ray. I would have said, shoot Fallon.
And if you shoot Fallon, the other guys, maybe they still come after you, but it's like you're cutting the head off the snake.
Yeah, because Fallon's the smart one. Sykes, he's more in the money. If you shoot Fallon, it's just like, well, now Sykes gets to make the decisions. Do you still want the money, or do you want to kill us?
And Sykes probably be like, "Hey, the money. You got $200,000?"
Right. I guess they just didn't think that Fallon would have still killed him when $200,000 is involved.
Yeah.
Because apparently Fallon does not give two shits about money when it comes from someone like Ray.
Well, I asked about this before too. You made a good point when we talked early in the week too. It's like I was at first thinking like, well, is Ray just bullshitting him on the $200,000? And then I'm like, you're like, well, we know he's a con man as the audience. Yes, but also I think maybe he does have like a rich parent or something like that.
Yeah, because they even mentioned, well, is your dad a stockbroker? Because now Fallon's trying to figure out where you're going to get this money from.
The fight they were going to, didn't they mention they had like front row seats or like third row seats?
You got front row seats, you're going to get blood on you.
So
one of them has money, but I thought
Yeah.
Frank was the one who bought the tickets.
Now that I don't know.
Yeah, we never really find that out, but I feel like Frank may have been.
But those tickets were very expensive. It was like a big pay-per-view fight, and it's like front row seats, whatever. So all right, I don't know. Maybe Ray was just like, "Hey, fuck, I'll deal with not having the money tomorrow, but let me at least get off the roof right now."
Right. So then we get our sewer scene.
Yeah, and this is really to me the climax of the movie because
It felt like this is where the climax was going to take place at.
yeah, one thing I didn't understand was they are in the sewer and they hear the bad guys coming, and so John and Frank both started climbing up towards the top, and Mike says something like, "There's too much light up there," but
If you get up there before they get back.
if we're gonna find out later on, like that's actually the exit.
Right.
You can walk up there, you can go up there and just go back on the streets. So even though Mike's like, I think put in his brain already, like, hey, it's time to fight back. Let's take a stand.
I mean, he does
And
make a good point. There's 3 exits and 3 people.
I get that, but they made it seem like the writing is bad writing because they made it seem like, oh, we can't hide up there. There's too much light. Like, no, that's the exit. That takes you back to the street. You can't convince me that you're not better off at the top of the street where you can really see everything versus the sewer. Now, look, Mike's point is spot on. Hey, we're just going to keep getting chased. Let's make a stand. 3 exits. The problem is with this 3 exit thing, it's just like
You gotta make.
it's done kind of weird. Mike's standing by one exit, right? Mm-hmm. And then Emilio is by the other exit.
But for some reason,
But John goes way far behind the other exit and hides behind a thing.
Right.
So then, coincidentally, the henchman Sykes comes through the one exit that wasn't directly being watched.
Right, and the weird thing is...
how was John going to ever do anything when he was that far away?
Right, well, here's another question.
He's an idiot.
Why didn't Sykes just shoot Mike?
I think that...
Because I know Sykes saw the shadow of Emilio in one corner.
They did a good job, but they show him when Sykes first shows up, he looks around. From his perspective, he doesn't see John or Frank.
But he does see Frank's shadow, at least.
No, he didn't see anything. He thinks nobody's there. So then he sees Cuba, and I think he's sneaking up on him because he's like, this is too good to be true. But I don't understand...
Why you just didn't shoot him.
And I don't even when he gets up to him, I don't understand how he doesn't see Frank coming. It's the
or hear it.
The dumb thing about the scene is that when I think about it, it's like the water's up to like what, almost waist high?
Yeah.
You can't move in that water so quickly without making noise and easy to navigate your way around. But thankfully Frank does.
I think he swam. I think he just went under and swam all the way over.
Like from how they showed how the thing looked, where he was standing, there's no way, just a slight look in the left, you would see Frank coming from like a mile away. At
the very least, a shadow, because John's looking right at where Frank is, and
you would definitely hear it. There's no way for him to quickly make his way through the water without a splash sound.
Right.
So just do that scene over again where you don't establish that, have Frank hiding somewhere we can sneak onto him, and don't have the water to where it doesn't make sense that he can sneak up on him.
Right, but yeah, so he sneaks up on him, gets the gun, and as Sykes telling him, you don't have the balls, you give me the gun or I'm going to do to you what we did to your friend Ray.
And the Cuba immediately shoots him, which is great because you expect some weird struggle where it's like self-defense. Cuba actually murders him.
It's still self-defense.
The guy's unarmed and just basically like, hey, he makes a verbal threat, and Cuba kill shot.
Well, that's also because he knows that this guy will put his money where his mouth is. I still see it as self-defense. It's one story if you don't believe the threat.
I'm glad Cuba had the gun because if Frank or John had the gun...
Well, John's already frozen. He still didn't even walk up to him until they started leaving.
If Frank had the gun, Frank was not going to shoot the guy. Frank was going to, negotiate with him or do something. Cuba just took care of him, basically. All right, yeah. We're down one. And now we create this weird tension between Frank and John, and then with Mike.
Yeah, because Mike was pissed that John didn't do anything.
Because Mike is like, hey, all right, one down. Let's do the same process. Get back in your corners. Let's get the other two. Which, hey, at that point, it's 3 against 2.
No, it's 3 against 3.
Oh, it's 3.
Because the long-haired dude still survived that first gunshot.
True.
And now they have a gun.
Maybe Mike's right, though. Maybe you should post up. But how many bullets do you have, though?
I'm sure you have at least 3. The minute someone pokes their head out, bang.
Well, the problem with the whole strategy is once it's exposed that John's scared of shit, that whole you take one, we all take one thing. Like obviously John can't do shit with his side. So,
yeah.
And so all right, well now it's revealed that them going up is actually the exit. Okay, so why don't you just stand at the top of this door and just wait for them to walk in the room and shoot downward? I don't know, but
this is also where we get in the same sewer before we go up to the street. Fallon does not like yaps. He gets this whole yapping monologue as he's drowning this motherfucker.
So this was definitely calling on, hey, Dennis Leary's a stand-up comedian. Well, let's give him a fun little stand-up comedy type monologue.
It's like this guy.
Yap, fucking yap.
Yeah, but what I like about this is unlike the whole thing with Ray, where you can see he's getting loud, he's yelling, which for some reason with Dennis Leary and getting loud, I didn't buy it. This one where he's not yelling, he's just straight up drowning this guy while calmly but unhinged.
I like that they slowly built that up because that guy throughout the movie was always saying shit. He was always saying stuff, and at the end he's just like, he's dead because of you, Fallon. It's like, what? How does that make any sense? And apparently that guy was his brother. I don't know if I gotta go back and see if they mentioned that.
I thought Sykes was just his best friend.
Okay.
Because I think they said they killed your best friend.
Okay, you didn't say brother, right?
Yeah, so.
Yeah, so we get Mike now calling Frank boss, and then this weird tension between them. But they do actually find a bus.
And that bus leaves them.
And Mike shoots at them. Motherfucker!
Did you really think that was going to stop? Stop the bus?
Mike is definitely unhinged at this point. And I can see where Frank is now like, yo, we got to worry about Mike now. He's gone over the edge.
Well, so we get to a store where they're all happy that they just made the alarm go off. And why did it take these cops, these security guards, 5 minutes to get to these two?
I really thought by this time that there were either no cops in this town, there was some cops, but that something shady was going on with the cops.
Like I said, I'm pretty sure I could have sworn Fallon would have had some in his pocket.
It's definitely possible, but...
Which is why you don't see any cops throughout the entire street. It's like, well, it already has its crime lord, and he's paying us, so I'm not going there.
I'll say this, Fallon's willingness to kill these cops shows me that he's all in now on... He's like, yo, fuck this. I'm all in tonight on getting these suckers.
And most likely he didn't have no security guards as in his pocket if he does have cops.
No, his willingness to murder these people, that's like, well, he's all in. The whole story scene at the end, I liked it a lot. I like Mike has like the thing of like just wanting to sacrifice himself. He's like, he has a good line about, hey, you have a family, all I got is you.
And he gets into a gunfight with goon number 2.
Cypress Hill guy.
So, yep. And he kills him, but he gets shot in the process. And
It was well done because I thought he's probably gonna die.
Yeah, same. I was like, saw that coming. So when's John gonna die? Because I felt like Frank was the only one gonna walk out of this alive.
I thought they were building towards that for sure, but I did like the dynamic at the end of like when Fallon's in the room and they're in the closet. Mm-hmm. That was fun because they're fucked if he actually opens that closet door.
Oh yeah, and then this is when we get our climax. Frank's calling for Fallon. Fallon runs for him, and then Frank starts strangling him with a belt.
Yep, and the fact is, overall in this fight scene, which again, this fight scene is really nothing to write home about. This is not a.
I mean, It's your normal thriller-based fight scene. The characters don't martial arts fight, but they are fighting to kill each other.
Yes, and we get the classic, the villain's winning, so he starts randomly talking shit instead of actually finishing the job.
Right.
Talking about his wife and talking about what he's going to do.
And this is just too late to be throwing in that you are gonna go kill his wife. Like, this is way too late to be bringing this up now.
Well, not only that, but you have to understand forget that, he's thinking about his child, right?
Yeah.
And
it's still too late to be throwing
the maternal instinct. It's like you give that dude like a big adrenaline boost when let's say he's just getting his ass kicked. He's like, then he's like, by the way, I'm gonna fuck your wife and kill your child.
And that's when he gets up.
That's when he's like, yeah, this dude was crazy. That's the Emilio that I want to see. That's the Frank that Mike was talking about earlier because he whoops his ass now. And now, unfortunately for Fallon, he's a dead man.
I still think it's funny Fallon's just covered in blood because Frank was already, even before he gets this adrenaline boost, they were going blow for blow for a second there. Yeah. Fallon's bloody and he goes, did you really think you hurt me? It's like, well, let's see. There's one cut. You're hurt at least in 3 places.
Yeah. When Fallon finally falls to his death, I'm glad they didn't I thought they were going to do like the false thing where like he's still alive and he comes back. I was like, he's even being, he probably broke his neck. Like he's dead. Let him be dead.
Well, another thing that's funny that I think is just weird is when Frank gets him in that spot, he goes, well, are you going to help me? And Frank's like...
Frank's dumbass actually tries to help him and Fallon's like, this fucking idiot, and tries to pull him down. Come on, man.
At that point, they should have just had Fallon take them both and both of them die at that point. It's like... Yes, because you deserve that.
You should have had Fallon laughing his ass off as he pulls him off and they both fall, and just have him like laughing like the Joker on the way down.
And like I said, both of them died. Like, you fucking deserve that.
It's hard to believe that after all that Frank is still like offering the helping hand, like, all right, yeah, I'm gonna help you out. Like, what if you saved him? What do you think is gonna happen?
He's gonna
try to kill you again.
And even Fallon's like, how do you do the right thing?
Man. So in the aftermath, we of course have to establish that
Mike's alive.
Mike and John are both going to be okay.
They're not going to hang out anymore, even though Mike wants to.
Mike wants to go to this game next week, and then Frank's like, nope, I'm back in the house. Mm-hmm. And John's like, nope, I'm not coming out. So maybe this friendship group is ruined. But I have to say, they're being very casual. But I think when they wake up the next day, they're going to be like, oh, that was tough. But Ray actually died. I hope Frank is always like telling the cops, like, hey, his body's over there.
Right.
Like, the next week should probably be the funeral. Like, they're like all like, Mike's someone like, yeah, I'm going to the football game next week. I'm like, the only effect of this long term is your friend died. Like, I almost feel like, we'll talk about in the categories, because I feel bad for Ray, because the only big consequences here is him dying.
Right.
So you got kind of the short end of the stick. With
That's why
the rest of them surviving, it feels kind of cheap. But,
That's why I kind of think that Mike should have died.
well, we'll talk about it. I think someone else should have died, but not Mike. But we'll talk about it in a minute. But I do think that them talking about the football game and all that, it's like I said, when you wake up the next day, you got to be like, hey, when's Ray's funeral? It's like, it's very serious shit that hasn't really occurred to them yet, or they just don't. They want to give like the happy bow on the top ending. But we get our great song, of course, playing, and we hit the credits. And
So now we're at our credits, which is categories.
yes, sure.
Best performance.
This is tough, man. I love everybody in the movie, and I got like 3 choices in my head. And man, you know what though? But talking to you earlier in the week about it, like, you kind of convinced me that I wouldn't have initially said Cuba. I always like Cuba, but I almost wanted to go like Dennis Leary at first, because he's never been a villain, so it's like a whole different role for him. But I'm gonna go Cuba because I do think he actually gets to show a lot of range in his role. But yeah, he has to go from tough guy to crazy to realizing he's gone crazy and coming back to Earth. So he does actually, it's one of Cuba's better performances, honestly.
Yeah, I'm definitely going with Cuba too for those same reasons. This movie this role was definitely meant for Cuba Gooding Jr. With the way he acts, his acting range, and this movie most likely showed, hey, he can act, so let's put him in other genres other than the typical black dude in a hood movie.
You know, you should talk about also what you're telling me about the different reactions, fight or flight. You should talk about that. That's a good observation.
One of the things I mentioned is pretty much you get your 3 reactions to a situation like this. You get fight, flight, which is what everyone talks about, but you also get frozen and fear.
Yes.
In a sense, Ray was the frozen, because throughout the whole movie you see that he's just getting to the point where he's said in multiple different scenes, go on without me, I can't make it.
Yep.
In a sense, he is frozen in fear, especially when he realizes the bad guys are right behind him. The damn thing just broke in front of his face, that he's like, I'm not making it through this, I'm too fat. Throws the ladder down. Tries to negotiate, which can be another form of it. But because he froze, he practically died.
Right.
Then you got flight, which is what John showed more of. Because even though he had that one instance that he froze before going after Sykes, the whole movie he just refused to stay put.
Yeah.
He knew if he stood put, he's dead.
And we have
fight,
Frank,
which is Mike.
Well, Mike is definitely fight.
And then you get Frank's character, who's in a sense fight and flight. He would run when he would run most of the movie, but he would fight when needed.
Yeah, and so you need, basically, my point was that you need both Mike and Frank's reactions combined together make for a good team, because with Mike you might be hot-headed and go too far, but Frank kind of brings you back down to earth pretty much. Worst performance, it's not a knock on him, but I'm gonna go Emilio Estevez, just because he's kind of just playing like a generic do-gooder good guy role, and in that role he doesn't get to like have any kind of character development really. He does in a way. Basically, at the end he comes back and he has his moment where he's like angry again, and he's the old Frank, but it's kind of like generic 90s good guy role. He got through at the last second. I feel like I can imagine he feels the most replaceable. I can imagine 100 different actors playing that role and doing it well.
Sean Connery.
Shout out also to his wife, who I just didn't like her in that opening scene. She didn't seem likable to me, but
So for me, worst performance was the cops.
oh yeah.
So out of everybody in this movie, I know the cops only had 5 minutes, but even if you get 5 minutes in a movie, you should still show some form of acting. You're telling me these cops just come there, oh yeah, we found your wallet. We think you may have dropped it over there. You're telling me Frank didn't tell him that, yeah, the bad guy had my wallet this whole damn situation? You're telling me, oh, hey, what's your face? Your wife's here. It's like nonchalant that I'm pretty sure most likely would have went over everybody's head if you didn't. Just
right.
all the cops, the EMTs. I'm sorry, if I was an EMT, hearing some of the reactions of these three characters together, I probably would have been laughing a little. It's like you just went through this, and the first thing you're thinking of is the Bears game.
Right. All right, let me think. What's the next category?
The best scene.
Best scene for me probably is that rooftop scene with Ray and Fallon, because it has the most tension. Because as we're going to find out, basically, this is actually the only scene in the movie where someone actually died. So it was like kind of like there was a lot at stake here. And it's just a good, it was well-written dialogue between the two, and then very well acted between Jeremy Piven and Dennis Leary. The movie does become repetitive because there are a lot of scenes like kind of just running type scenes.
Oh, there's all three. You got three major scenes, and they're all exactly the same, pretty much. You got once they get out of the camper, you got the train yard scene. They run to the train yard, they hide. Then they run to the apartment, they hide. They run to the store, the sewers. They decide to fight back, but that's the only difference.
But then run again,
and then they run. And then they get to the store. They hide when they realize that's not going to work no more. Then they fight back.
It's a chase movie, and it's kind of like I feel like how I felt about Cry Wolf, where it's like there's not so many scenes that stand out. It's more the collective movie itself. But that rooftop scene was solid, and even like when you look at the movie on YouTube, that's the one scene that has tons of views. People go back and watch that one scene. It's the most popular scene in the movie by far.
So to be honest, I'm giving it to the same scene. It's intense. Fallon. The only thing I didn't care too much for was Dennis Leary just getting loud. It's like we already see you can show anger without being loud, and for some reason, when Fallon got loud, it kind of took me. It felt like he wasn't even Fallon anymore, because that was the only time he gets loud the whole movie.
Yep.
So
he got under his skin.
It just feels weird, but I still give it to that scene because it is intense.
And
you're wondering.
And by the way, if Fallon didn't have his temper, maybe he would have taken the $200K offer.
Yeah.
Because his henchmen clearly were like, oh, shit, yeah.
Exactly. And then you got, because this is also where Mike is slowly starting to get to the point where he's just going to say, fuck it, we need to kill him. And I honestly thought Mike at one point was going to screw everything up and just shoot one of them before Ray gets thrown off the roof.
Right.
Even with Frank there, I feel like Mike would have just done it.
Yeah, true.
Which, again, if he shot and killed Fallon there, the movie probably would have been over, because Sykes most likely would have been like, yeah, I'll take the $200,000.
It'd been a good twist. Oh, he actually shot Fallon. This movie started 45 minutes ago. Fallon's dead.
Yep. So, worst scene.
I think that when I rewatched it, I think them hiding in the boxcars, the trains, I would actually just remove that whole sequence. I understand that in hindsight, the whole point was him to get the ID,
right?
The wallet, but I just find the interaction with the homeless people to be annoying, and I don't understand why Fallon, for the first time, doesn't just open up each door and look at each thing.
After he said he was going to.
He's walking by and just says, hey, I'm just thinking they're probably not here. I'm going to leave. And then he hears noise and comes back. But if it's that serious, why wouldn't you just open each door anyways and just check? So that didn't make sense to me. And then...
For me, it's the opening. I don't know why. I just have an issue with somebody telling another person, especially one you're supposed to love and respect, no, your friend, you're not allowed to go out with your friends. They're pieces of shit. Or, again, they make Frank almost unlikable because I've been trapped in this house for 3 months ever since we had this baby. I need to get out. It's like, well, what do you think she's been going through? Most likely she's the one getting up every night when the baby's crying to feed him.
Right.
How many diapers have you changed? When does she get to go? Does she get to go out for a weekend after you come back home? What's going on here?
And also you have to think, what's the purpose? Is the purpose to make us feel bad for her or make us feel bad for
I don't feel bad for
him?
either of them. I just feel like this is a bad relationship.
I see both sides, but I feel like that being a problem, and I don't like that ultimately she's like, your friends are mature and this is a bad idea. And let's be honest, after what happened, he's never going out again. He's never leaving the house. He learned his lesson. There will be no guys' night outs anymore.
Plot twist. Fallon is this woman's brother.
Oh, there you go.
The only reason Fallon doesn't mention it is because he doesn't want the relationship to end because she actually likes him. So instead, Fallon tries to kill the friends, but was going to leave Frank alone.
Fan fiction. This is why we can't have. This is why we can't have nice things. All right. Well, okay. Well, to keep track of the predator, the Tremors are predators from the planet.
Predator worms.
I don't even remember what you said about Scream last week. I don't even want to bring it back up again. But
that Ghostface was a hitman, and the reason the ending reveal of the killers being now not able to kill anybody is because they're not actually the killers, but Ghostface is a hitman that they hired. So now they got to play the part because Ghostface left.
I'm so happy you reminded me. And now that Fallon is this girl's brother.
Yes.
How
do you think he knew she was Italian? Because he's Italian too.
So, what I would change, there's two things I would change.
Oh, there's one thing I would change.
So for me, there's two things. One thing is we definitely should have found out more about Frank and John's relationship and why they're estranged as brothers and why they have some kind of tension. They dropped that at the beginning of the movie. Mm-hmm. The other thing, for me, I feel like, okay, it's kind of cheap that Ray's the only one that died, right? You have to kill someone else, right? If the final fight is going to be Frank versus Fallon, and obviously Frank is being pushed to the edge, I'm killing his little brother and adding the highest stakes then. I'm killing Steven Dorff. He's the second death scene. I don't know how you do it. I didn't figure that plan out. That's for people doing the fan fiction. But I'm having Steven Dorff die also. Yeah, you can kill Cuba, and that's a predictable thing to do. But I'm killing Steven Dorff and having Frank lose his little brother and now think, oh my God, the only family I have left is my wife and my baby. And now the stakes are heightened. Make the sacrifice, director, writer. Let Steven Dorff die.
So, I guess technically I would change two things. It depends on what would have been changed if I wrote it. The first,
there would be predators and tremors and a lot of things.
So
killer clowns. Probably.
No. So first, I kind of already talked about it. You know, if you still had Frank versus Fallon, and Frank decided to be the dumb one to try and help Fallon, I would have had Fallon and Frank both fall and die. Just because Frank did that stupid ass bullshit. That would have been one change, but if they decided to go with his next change, you didn't need that. Frank gets injured or dies, and then John has to get over his fear and finally fight Fallon one-on-one because Cuba's still hurt. But Frank dies, and then John fights him.
I'm down with that if they if they give John more development, basically. I feel like they keep him really as like a side character, and they don't let him actually you don't get a deep dive in him the way you do with even like Mike. So you got to build him up more if you're gonna give him like the final fight. I feel like so. Yeah,
but still, and then we can finally just see where he goes crazy, finds a vampire, gets bitten, and becomes Deacon Frost.
There you go. I got a fun scenario. We go completely crazy. We kill the brothers. We have Ray and Mike as the last two at the end. That's just a weird dynamic. That sounds interesting, though, doesn't it?
Yeah,
but we kill the brothers.
But it could still work because Ray would be the brains, whereas Mike would be the strength.
Oh, together you got that's brains and brawn right there.
Yeah,
that would work. But you gotta kill off Amelia. That's
I'm fine with that.
I'm good with that too.
He can go back to coaching the Ducks,
and then get taken off when he doesn't get vaccinated.
Yeah, exactly.
All right, my final thoughts. Listen, I gotta be honest. The soundtrack is pretty damn good, so I would listen to the soundtrack. But this is one of those underrated movies from the 90s that nobody talks about, nobody's seen. So I wanted to bring it up because I've always wanted to discuss it, but it didn't quite fit the Let's Watch a B movie brand. But now as the movie fellas, we can start doing more thrillers and animated movies from the 80s called Land Before Time, and hopefully not that. So anyways, for me, I go back and forth. For me, it's 3 stars, but I can respect also the idea that it's 2.5 stars. It depends, because for me, it's like, I'm not gonna lie. I'm like with this, how Nick is with Hocus Pocus. I have like a nostalgic attachment to this guy I saw when I was a little kid. But from an enjoyment standpoint, I gotta go 3 stars from the enjoyment standpoint. The movie has plot holes for sure, and it is kind of, it almost wears out its welcome at the end because you start to get redundant with all the chase scenes. But it's just short enough. It does wrap up. It wraps up at least quickly enough to where it doesn't get too redundant at the end.
Did you just say this movie was short? You do know it's about the same length as Scream 5, right?
No, well, the Scream.
It's an hour and 50 minutes.
Scream 5 was short too, so.
No, it felt short. This one felt like an hour and 50 minutes.
Well, Land Before Time felt like 3 hours. So.
Land Before Time felt like an hour.
What I mean is that at least it wraps it up before they add in 5 more chase scenes. All right, so I'm gonna settle. Actually, I'm gonna settle with 2.5 stars. I'm gonna say for me, if you added my biases, 3 stars, but I can see where there are some holes in it. But it's still a very fun movie to watch, and that's the bottom line. So
for my final thoughts, the characters.
Oh, okay, by the way, I gotta say, such a great cast. I love the cast in this movie.
Go fuck yourself. Ah, shit.
Yeah.
Oh, I was
you
not expecting that.
with the bright light. I'm gonna pack up for your problem.
Oh, why did you do that?
Can't be seen your ass.
Wouldn't that be a good thing?
All right, you happy? Is that better?
Yes, actually.
Right.
It's not right in my face. So, final thoughts for me. The cast was good, minus the cops.
Oh.
I mean, what cops, really? Cast was good. Score was actually pretty good. The lighting could have been better, but a lot of scenes it still worked for the situation, and it added a good amount of tension to it. The suspense scenes were pretty good. The villain did a good job. Unfortunately, I just cannot get over all these chase scenes. It's very repetitive.
I agree with that.
Every scene is exactly the same. You run, hide, run, hide, run, hide. And event.
The plot needed more towards the second half of the movie. The plot needed some like new developments.
John and Frank's relationship didn't get built up for whatever they tried to set up in the beginning scene. There wasn't really that much stakes because only one character died. If they had a second death, there probably would have been more.
There were stakes for Ray.
Yeah, that stake was a broken ladder. So, overall, I'm actually going to give this movie a 2. It's a fun little thing to watch every now and then, but I'm probably not going to buy it. So, overall, everybody, as usual, you do not have to go home, but you got to go home and go to sleep.
All right, folks, and remember also, folks, please subscribe to our YouTube channel, Movie Fellas. All our episodes are there in full, and please leave feedback and comments, and we appreciate all your support.
And if you leave no feedbacks, we will get Jeremy to come after you.
Yes, but
not his mom.
Not his mom, no. All right, folks, until next week, you take care. Thanks so much.